Okay, great. We're live. Hi, everyone. We're a bit late today. Sorry about that. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to our daily talks, our everyday these daily conversations with creators, entrepreneurs, people who are flourishing in their spaces, disruptors in their spaces, actually, whether through their craft or in business. So, on today's show, we are joined by Miss Noel Makaukane Ngobeni, founder of Quaitre Saisons. She's an interior designer. Her company was established in 2012. We're gonna have her on screen just in a minute. Give me a minute. Miss Noel, can you hear me? Okay, while she's still figuring herself. Okay, hi. We can't hear anything. I don't know if she can hear me. All right. Our intent with this live series is to address hacks on how to make it out alive in Africa, especially during such a trying time. This pandemic has seriously taken over. It has taken over our lives. It has taken over our workspaces. It has taken over everything that we believe in and everything that we tap into when we try to make money every day. So we interact with people who are still flourishing in their respective spaces or who have found ways to maneuver around the pandemic. So if you've got comments or questions for our guests, please just comment on the screen and we'll push them through to our guests. Miss Noel, I honestly cannot hear you. Can you please say something? Okay, I don't think her microphone is connected. I'm just gonna check with my team. Team, can you please check if Noel's if Noel's microphone is connected? Connect. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. That's better.
Can you? You can hear me.
Yeah, if you have an earpiece, maybe you can just connect it to your device, your phone
I
or your
don't
laptop.
have. Okay, wait. Let me
All right.
get
In the
an
meantime,
earpiece quickly.
okay, cool. And maybe you can just mute on your Facebook on the other side because I can hear myself echo. All right.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
cool.
Now I can hear you. Can you hear me
Oh,
now?
yes, I can hear you perfectly. Awesome.
Oh, perfect.
Yes. Please say hello to our guests and then introduce yourself.
Hello, 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 hello,
I don't
hello.
think I give
How's
you
everyone
justice.
doing? How's everyone in the cabin crew? In the cabin? How's the cabin fever?
We are trying, hey, like we're just trying to stay alive. I think I'm
Yeah,
hearing
no,
kids.
that's
I'm hearing kids in the background. Are you playing mommy during this time?
Look, there's my nephew Rascals here, and they're making noise, and you're calling
and
Mama Mamkulu every second. So I had to try and escape from them, but they keep finding me.
and how are you handling the homework sessions?
The homework
Homeschooling,
station,
actually. It's not
the
homework anymore. It's
homeschooling.
homeschooling.
Um, yeah, look, they trying. At least we have Wi-Fi, unlimited Wi-Fi, so they're able
Mhm.
to access their work,
It
which their
works.
teachers send them on the tablet, and they're able to do their work while
Mhm.
playing games and all. But
Of course.
yeah, we're trying. We're
Right.
trying.
You you you
Yeah,
know
no
um
pressure though. I'm not putting pressure on anyone to say wake up. It's school time or school work. No, I just let them sleep, and then they just wake up as they wake up and do what they have to do.
yeah, yeah. So Miss Noel, you're an interior designer, correct? When I got your profile, the first thing that came to my mind was yes, the queen of feng shui.
Yes, correct. Yes.
So I mean, a lot of people are, stuck in their homes currently, and yeah. Oh, now she's only getting it. A lot of
Yeah.
people are stuck at home,
Yeah.
as an interior
This is
designer.
the time. Yeah, this is the time where you are like, oh, I wish I had employed an interior designer to zhuzh up my home so that during lockdown I feel happy, I feel comfortable, I'm in the space that I love. But don't
Yes.
worry, we're gonna open up and we're gonna do it again. So yeah, no stress.
Also, you close currently. You're not taking any clients.
Yes. No, I'm not taking any clients at the moment.
Okay.
I didn't want to put myself under any pressure. I've been
Mm-hmm.
getting requests from people saying, "Oh, can you do this? Can you do that?" I was like, "No, I can't." I feel, when you're in the cabin, the fever, the whole thing that everyone is partying when you're working, everyone is sleeping when you want to try and work. I do work, but I don't put any pressure on myself
Mm-hmm.
because angifuni ukuhlanya. So yeah, I
For your
keep it low,
sanity.
yeah, for my sanity.
Yes. I
There
mean,
are days where like I wake up and I just I'm in the morning. I wake up, brush my teeth, have my breakfast, go back to bed, and then I zoom out the whole day.
I mean, for those who don't know, do you mind taking us through Quatre Seasons? What do you do? Who are your clients? Who do you cater to and stuff like that?
Um, we are an interior design company.
Mm-hmm.
Started in 2012.
Yes.
But in 2012, it was an on and off, one foot in,
Mm-hmm.
one foot out in the corporate and one in business. So our clientele ranges from corporate to residential homes to hospitality industry, to your restaurants. We've done restaurants, we've done saloons, we've got quite a good clientele base on most of, or let me say our highest clientele has been corporate, um, residential homes,
Mm-hmm.
and then retail.
And I mean, you obviously have to, visit your clients and try to see the space before, you can implement
Yeah,
any sort of work. Um,
yeah,
is that your
yeah.
biggest challenge not right now, having to get to clients?
I cannot get to clients at
Yeah.
all, obviously because of the lockdown, and
Yes.
and also I'm at risk. They are also at risk if I were to visit them.
Yes.
So we cannot do that. So there's no contact at all. Hi, Nosy. Uh, I can't hear Nosy. I
She's
can't hear her.
she's
I don't.
on mute.
Oh, she's mute.
Let me
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Nosy, please
Yeah.
unmute
So
yourself from that side. Okay, let
unmute
me
yourself. Okay.
it's
So we
it's okay.
can't
You
we
can go
can't
on.
really yeah, so my business is mostly that when a client requests that I do work for them, I have to be on site. I have to
Yeah.
go to the site. I have to see the site. I have to do measurements. I have to see the
Yes.
space visually. I had to do drawings, all of that. And it requires me to be, on site, all of that.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, it's not something that we're able to do right now.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that has been keeping me busy only on the interior business is the design work, because the
Yes.
design work, I don't have to be on site. I can be sitting at home and do the
Mm-hmm.
the 3D
Yeah, 3D
designs
designs and all that.
without having to go out at all. I use my laptop. Everything
Yes.
is internet, everything is internet based. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to so I rely mostly on my uncapped Wi-Fi to be able to do that
Yes. Yes.
exercise. Yeah. Otherwise, unfortunately, I really cannot. I wouldn't want anyone to
Yeah.
come to my house either at this moment.
No, of course. Right. We seem to have lost Unozi a bit. Well, Noel, I was just thinking, right, and we're going through a lot of information online. I've seen a couple of
Yeah.
designers. Have you heard about virtual reality, VR? Um, you've got those big goggles that you put on, and it seems like you are in whatever space that has been created by the goggles. And I've seen some designers,
Mm-hmm.
they've
Yeah.
taken the tool to
In
use.
whatever space. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, other
Yeah.
apps, you can use
Yeah.
them on your phone and say, would this couch fit at my place? You know what I'm saying? And then you go online, you use the app, you take the couch, you take photos of your house or of the room, and you see the couch and the shop online on your
Yeah.
phone, and you try to
Yeah.
place it
Yeah.
while using your app. I mean, is
Yeah.
that the kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
technology that
Yeah.
you will be venturing
Actually,
into anytime soon?
yeah. 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 Look, if this lockdown goes for way too long, that's the route what that we're gonna have to end up doing. And for instance, I've recently, actually before the lockdown, I had a
Mm-hmm.
client who is based in Cape Town,
Mm-hmm.
and because I was my schedule was quite hectic, I
Yes.
couldn't travel at the time, and
Yeah.
our times were not in sync. So I slowly take me through it, tell me which room you're taking me through.
Mm-hmm.
Let me have a look, and then
Yes.
once I've had the look, then I will know what kind of space I will have to work on. Then that's what she did, and she sent it to me via WeTransfer. And after that, then I sat down and said, okay, this is what we can do with your space. And there's some
Mm-hmm.
few tools like your kind of paint that should app. Download this, and
Yes,
then
to
you'll
see
be
if it
able
works
to
with
just
with
take
your
a picture
with your
of the wall.
surroundings. Yes.
And then as you take a picture of the wall, and then you actually choose your paint according to that, and then that's what we had to do, yeah. And it was quite exciting, but it obviously limits some kind of an face to face, because most people would love to have someone in front of them, sitting with them and taking them through the steps of what we're going to do in your
Yes.
house, how it's going to look like, what are the challenge, because some of the things that we as designers are able to see, the client is not able to see, and they're not
Yes.
able to highlight them because they don't know them, you know so
Yeah.
it's a give and take. We take those chances, but yeah, we just make it work where we can.
No, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
we're quite uncertain about where the lockdown is gonna put a lot of us. So we have to maneuver with the changes and try to find our ways around. Yes. Okay. Hi, Nosy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Mbali.
Are you good?
I'm good, thanks. How are you? Hi, Noel.
Mm-hmm.
Are you quarantined at home, Nosy? Or you are somewhere in the bushes there? Where
No, I'm working. I'm at home.
Hi,
you're
Nosy.
working.
How are you?
I'm good, ladies. How are you?
No, be great, thanks. So, guys, Uno is the founder of Nubia Advertising. She provides marketing solutions for clients. Maybe
I'm
Nozi, you can
great,
just
great,
explain
great.
to our audience what it is exactly that you do in depth.
What we do is mainly advertising, though there are other
Mm-hmm.
complementary service in terms of
Yes.
your graphic designing and printing,
Mm-hmm.
but the bulk of our business is in advertising. fortunately enough for us, focusing on radio advertising. So yeah.
Right. I just want to know, do you cater to like pretty small companies? Because I mean, you know, Ugayoda is
And I
chicken
still need
right
her
now.
services.
We do cater for any size of company, but
Okay.
I have to be honest and say advertising is not cheap. You know,
Yes.
you normally just have to sit down with each client and structure a package that is going to work for them. Obviously, there's different kinds of platforms that they should consider. So you've got to go, that extra mile. It's unlike when you're dealing with a small company. It's not like you are dealing with a big corporate that already has millions that have been set aside for advertising. So it really is about creating packages and also meeting the business where it's at, and without necessarily trying to put them off. In some cases, you do have to say, you know what, realistically, I would rather have suggest that maybe you consider digital marketing as opposed to your traditional media, maybe your radio or TV or something like that. So yes, there is something that each business can do depending on their budget and the stage that they are in business.
Yes. I mean, with advertising, just how much has, you know, the lockdown affected the way that you do things, with the way that you, in terms of income, in terms of how you, obviously how you, you know, interact with clients, but just how's the severity of the lockdown on what you do?
Honestly, I feel like we should have embraced technology and done what we are actually doing way earlier than the lockdown.
Yes.
Obviously, different media platforms have been impacted differently, but because advertising largely is done in media, and it doesn't always necessarily require that you go and be there. There
You are
are
there
other forms of
physically.
advertising, which would be things like, doing activations and stuff. That is not possible where there has to be human interaction. But what has been keeping us busy, for example, is the likes of your radio. Radio is there because it has been there to give the information, to disseminate information. Now, also it depends on the clients. The clients that are in essential services are still able to advertise, but at first we were shaken. I remember we had a client that is in the restaurant business, and they had to close all their stores, which then meant that there would be no advertising because you cannot drive people and say you must go and get this. You cannot even run a promotion. But for the likes of your clients that in the essential services, like your technology, your airtime, your data, and things like those, it hasn't been that bad, and it has been almost business as usual. What we've been doing is the meetings that we would have, the presentations, we've been able to do them online. And one day complained about why people do not like using WhatsApp as a business platform. And to be honest, I was one of those that always thought WhatsApp was informal. But literally yesterday, I spent my day on WhatsApp coordinating radio production, obviously, and other online platforms that are available, your Zooms and stuff like that, doing the meetings. We actually could pull off and do a radio production with different languages and have different voiceover artists in different places. So yeah, I think it's doable, but change is uncomfortable. That's just the unfortunate thing.
Yes. I mean, in terms of advertising, are you the one recruiting the talent, or the client comes with with their talent and then you make it work?
Bali. Hi, Bali.
Hi.
Yeah, I lost you a bit there.
All right, cool. I was just saying, in terms of the
Bali.
ads that you're currently running, are you okay? Right. My guest signals are so bad today. It's okay. Noah, back to you. Are you still with me? While we wait for Nosy, are you still with me?
I think. Yes. Yes, I'm
Hi,
here. Yeah.
sorry guys.
Yes, I'm
So
here.
I logged on with my phone. I have to mention some of the technicalities
I'm
where you
here.
have a
I can
call
hear you.
coming through
Oh,
while you in the middle of this and you just lose the conversation. So, but I
it's
think we
okay. You
will
are
eventually
forgiven.
get it right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we'll eventually get it right and we'll master this. I mean, yeah,
You know,
but
one
it
of the
hasn't been bad at all.
conversations that we had on the live series was that, in the country, we've been talking about 4IR for the past 5 years, but it's only dawning to us now with what this actually means, what it actually means to take our businesses online, what it actually means to utilize technology in order to benefit us and keep making money. Because at the end of the day, we all just
Yeah.
want to make money, and if you're not making money, you're not in business.
Mm.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
yeah, yeah. No, I was actually telling a colleague that there
Yeah.
is absolutely no necessity of us going back to business as we did previously. I mean, I connect with my team, we connect with the team from different places, and it is doable. I didn't have, for once yesterday, yes, we had
Mm.
technical glitches, but I didn't have a voiceover artist that says, okay, guys, give me 30 minutes because I'm stuck somewhere on William Nicol traffic and it is my call time, but I'm not able to make it. So it's a give and take. You've just got to embrace it. And
Yeah.
I think the good thing about technology is that it's either you embrace it, it just gets, you find yourself in it. There is no way of, it doesn't give you a chance to say, I'm a
Yeah.
traditionalist and I still want to keep doing things the way
The
that
old
we've been
way.
doing things back then.
Mm.
It disrupts you and you just have to get on with the program.
No, for sure. And I was just asking, for those who are watching, how do you source the talent? Is there a website that people can
I'm
go
being
by
by a
if
little guest
they
here.
want to if they want to audition? If they've got, where do you find your talent?
Um, so in terms of the talent, there's 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 different ways of doing it.
Yes, another call.
Yes. Another that's I did tell Mfundo that I was in the middle of production. So yeah, so in terms of the talents,
Again, this is
there are
decided.
different platforms. There are different platforms, and there's also like they are well known in the industry. I usually address those like individually because it's difficult to give a one one answer to everyone because people
Yes,
are on different stages. If you're talking about a voiceover artist, for instance, some
yes,
of them are actors, they are trained actors, but you also have people that think, okay, I've got a great voice and I can do this, and
yeah,
completely
yeah,
different when you've got to stand behind a microphone and
yeah.
read and act. It's not just about having a good voice and things like those. So to answer your question, we find them in different ways, but it's usually recommendations from the industry. We know the voices. We know, like, if you're looking for
Yes,
maybe a voiceover for Shitsonga or for isiZulu, you know that this is the pool that you normally choose from. These are the people. I do feel that we're not doing enough in terms of developing new ones. We normally just go with the tried and tested. But also because it's costly, it's a costly exercise. So it's easier when you get, just like any other industry, it's easier when you get someone with who is experienced. A
yes,
lot of clients, which is advertisers in our case, are not willing to gamble and train this voiceover on an ad that is going to be going on a national radio station while they're fumbling. They can read the language, they have the voice, but they just do not know the technicalities of delivering a good ad that will actually also sound good on radio. So it's taken by each case. I mean, there is a studio that I work very closely with, and
yes,
I always refer people to that studio. They train where possible. but they are
Okay.
not in that business of training. They do train when they do have a bit of time, and they help with putting together a package for a voice, because you need to have sort of like a profile, and then you put your voice, and they give you like some guidelines. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Mm.
Miss Noel, back to you. I mean, in the space that you're in, do you believe that there is some kind
Yes.
of formula or pattern to becoming a successful designer? If yes, would you mind sharing that with us?
Yes, definitely. Obviously, you need to know the ins and outs of the industry.
Yes.
In this case, you have to keep up with what is happening in the world globally.
Mm-hmm.
You have to keep up with what is happening locally. And also, it is very important that you always do research all the time. And this is where I'm spending most of my time right now.
Yeah.
During this lockdown, I sit down and do a lot of research. So it helps me that by the time we get back, my mind is not stale. And to keep up to date with the trends, and also keep up with what the market is looking for,
Yeah.
and are receiving from clients, where I'm gonna be spending most of my time, when the economy opens, and I just need to make sure that I'm ready. So yeah, it is very important that you understand the industry itself, and
Yeah.
you do a lot of research, and
Yes.
also yeah, keep up with the global trends, not
Yeah.
just your local trends only, but global trends are very important,
Yeah.
because we are a global economy, we
Yes.
global village, and I've had clients who sits and works and lives in Switzerland, but they've got a property in Cape Town, and they wanted me to do their property,
Mm, mm.
and obviously they see things that are happening in East Switzerland, and then they will be sending me pictures of what they like. And if I
Yes.
don't know, I have no idea of what the global market is, it will be a shocker to me. I would not know how to handle such requests.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very, very important for me to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when speaking about international clients, and you being a global brand, I just want to know, in terms of expanding, your market, how did you go about that? Except for, you've been referred by clients. How do you make sure that your advertising, in what you do goes beyond the borders of South Africa and reaches somebody in Switzerland to call you and say, "Hey, I need your product because I saw it here, and there."
Um,
Look, I
is that
haven't,
for Noel?
I've not,
They said
yes,
no.
yes. I've not,
Okay.
oh, I've not actually advertised anywhere outside of the South African boundaries, but
Oh,
somehow my clients, because they're travelers, my
yes.
clients are global citizens. Most of them, would actually see my work, and then they're traveling, and they would then recommend my work. And for instance, I want to give you an example where I did someone's house here in Joburg, in Norwood, and the client that I did her house, one of her friends who was seated, who works and lives in Switzerland, saw my work through Facebook. And then
Mm,
they like,
mm,
look, I really want your services. They called me up, I want your services. But the property is in Cape Town, you
yes.
know, um, booked the flight, got there, did everything. So it has been mostly word of mouth for me.
Mm,
I've not really advertised outside of South Africa.
okay.
It's my clients who actually do that work for
Speak on
me,
your
and which has been
behalf.
brilliant. Yeah, they speak on
And
my behalf.
that's a nice thing about doing great work, that everybody
Yeah,
is gonna want to talk about it and refer.
yeah.
And we have this conversation with entrepreneurs all the time. We say, instead of spreading yourself thin, rather spread yourself thick. And by that meaning, focus on the
Mm,
things, focus on the core things that you know that you're really good at. And then the
mm,
rest of the things can follow, because
mm.
that way you are able to just give a 100% great product. Yes.
Yeah,
Mm,
All
yeah.
right.
mm,
Nozi, I just want to know, in your space, in the advertising space, there's a whole lot of competition there. Everybody's trying to advertise right now. Everybody's trying to get their product out there. Everybody's looking for the best person to represent them.
yeah.
What is your competitive advantage? What makes you different? What makes you stand out? What makes people choose Unozi over 500 other advertising companies that are out there? What makes
Mm.
people want to associate with your brand?
I think it's a very big space, but the person does become the business, the owner does become. I think people love dealing with people that they know. And by that is, I'm in a space which is often taken for granted. People do not, I'm listening to Noel talking about how she has not advertised outside the country. And people tend to think that advertising is just because you've got a Facebook profile, is just about talking about your work. There's a whole lot of work that gets done behind the scenes. There is things like, structuring who your target market is. Who do you want to target? For instance, our service is usually business to business, and therefore I see no need to then be advertising to my friends. For instance, my friends are just my friends, and that's how I relate to them. And for someone in advertising like me, I would normally then sit and say, okay, fine, how do I reach those businesses? It is possible that you will sometimes not even hear about me saying this is what I am doing, because I know my target market and I know how to go about reaching them. I know which platforms to reach them. I know how to speak to them. So all those questions, as in like who, how, where, how much, and things like those, you get to do those behind the scenes, and you know exactly that, okay, fine. For instance, even in a company, it's not just about talking to anyone. I know that I should be talking to a marketing director. I should be talking to, or maybe a marketing manager. So to answer your question is that experience speaks for you, and there's also like our work. It's a small industry. It's big, but it's small because we know each other. We know what Nosy is capable of. We know each other we meet at events. Most of the business deals are not necessarily done by advertising. It's very because it's a complex service. So it's very rare that you just meet an advertising company that you just happen to know the owner on social media. Just they are your friend. You must know that this person, okay, fine, you must have met them maybe at an event, at some awards event and things like those. Like I do have, like, let's say for instance, the Facebook friends, contacts on any other platform on Twitter, but most of the people in my industry hardly ever talk about their work because we know each other. It's sort of like we know that, okay, we do meet at these places. So competitive as it is known. Word of mouth as well plays a very big role. And because advertising is broad, you've got the ad agencies, which play a different role. You've got the media, which plays a different role. So it's always known that, okay, this is where you place Nosy, this is where you place Nubia, this is where, as compared to any other company that does advertising. So it's more of an industry unspoken language that you hardly ever see out there. But more than anything else, people have got to know who they are dealing with. And once they know and they are comfortable with who they're dealing with, then they are able to judge and say, okay, I will go with this company versus this company. There's been cases where we go to, let's say, an ad agency and they say, we were dealing with this ad agency, but we wanted to do something in the African language stations. And we feel that you are better placed, your understanding. Those are some of the little details that a client would say, but this ad agency wrote an ad for us, but we feel that they are not that much in touch with our target market, which is your African language, maybe station listener or something like that. It really depends. Each campaign has got its own different objectives, and whether you're good or not, you get judged on the ability of whatever that you have come up with is able to meet the set advertising objectives by that particular advertiser.
No, I appreciate that, and I mean, I'm gonna Noel, and I understand your business as well. You cater for business to business for the most part.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes, I do.
And
yes, sure. Oh, I thought you were asking a question.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I hear you.
All right, Miss Noah, how do you balance? And maybe let me just ask this first, right? You do have employees in your company, right? Let's say maybe 15, 20 less.
That's less, yeah.
So yes, I do have. Even though that in the past year I had to reduce the number of staff because of the challenges that I faced in 2019. So I had to reduce quite a lot of number of employees. But the ones that I have right now, it's actually quite a small number. But even those that I have actually had to let go, I still use their services on ad hoc basis when the need arises. So on project basis, actually. Yeah.
And then how do you balance the stability of hiring with the right talent? I mean, have you found a working formula for the high cost of labor? Are you negotiating your prices? And I mean, especially now during this pandemic, how do you balance finding the right talent and offering them, the right kind of amount?
Look, I don't believe in negotiating people down on their worth. I don't believe that, because I believe that what you bring on the table, it's what you actually need to be paid for. If I say that this is my worth, and if you cannot afford it, it's okay to say, look, I cannot afford it, and you move to someone that you can afford, instead of just negotiating people's worth down. I'm not into that. I don't subscribe to that at all. So much that I actually find it very difficult when someone tries to negotiate my prices down. I get stuck, like, what do you want me to do? This is my price, and this is my worth, and this is what I'm bringing on the table. Yes, it's okay to say, here's my budget. And this is what my pocket can afford. Are you willing to be on board? And someone can just make the decision based on that, instead of just saying to someone, you know what, I think this is how much you're worth. I feel that you're undermining their value, you're undermining their essence, you're undermining their ability, you're undermining their skill and their experience. I don't believe in that. So yeah, in my space, I will tell you when I hire you that this is how much I have budget for this, and is this something that you're willing to take? And if it is, yes, we go ahead. And if it's not, then you say, okay, it's not. But if you decide to take it with conditions, we need to talk about those conditions prior, so that
And then
we
it should be
know,
favorable for both parties.
yay, so that we know that, okay, someone will say, look, I will take it, but actually, I would love to have this reviewed in what, in 6 months or in a year or whatever the case may be. And we do that, and then we have a healthy working relationship,
Yes.
other than working with someone who feels that, in their hearts that, what, I don't know why I'm even here. They don't even
Yeah.
take me serious. They don't even pay me my worth.
Yeah.
They don't even contribute to their maximum capacity when they don't feel like they are paid to their work, according to
Correct.
their worth. Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
And I want to take this question back to Unozi again. You work with a whole lot of creatives, correct?
Yeah.
Do you find yourself at some point where you have to negotiate, and with negotiation comes, no, I'd rather not do this, or
Okay. There's two kinds of employees, if I were to refer to it. There's employees that are there, like on a full-time basis, and then there are freelancers, people that you just work with on project basis. I don't, for instance, keep your voiceover artists in-house. They are not on my payroll like monthly. I call them when there is a specific campaign that needs that particular service. And we've got an industry rate card where it is necessary to negotiate. It's an upfront negotiation to say, okay, fine, this is the client, this is the budget that they've got. But like Noel said, I also don't like working with demotivated people. I know the boundaries. I know what is it that people, from how much to how much people would be willing to take. So first starting point is, if, say for instance, you've got a client that pays in 30 days or in 45 days, the conversation you have upfront with the creative is that, look, this is what I want from you. This is the amount of usage, and this is the amount. This is the negotiation that I would like us to have. If it's not necessary and the client has not negotiated, I mean, you pay people the money. You can't always be negotiating with each campaign and always coming, because there are clients who will not negotiate. You just pay it forward and you just pay people what they are worth. Now, with employees, getting the right talent and keeping them, it's a bit of a, it's a trial and error. You do meet good people, a bit of emotional intelligence as well, because sometimes you've got to get to the bottom of it. What is it that is making this person be a difficult employee? So it's a bit of a stretch. It's like finding yourself when you've been living on your own and you find yourself having to live with people. It's a stretch. You understand the different personalities. You try and motivate them based on how they want to be motivated. Some people are motivated by money. Some people are motivated by affirmation and things like those. So you always deal with each employee. You meet them at the point of their need, and then just make sure that they feel appreciated, they feel valued, and that's how you are able to get the good out of them. If then you have things like, late payments for whatever reason, you communicate. For me, I always, fortunately, we're in the communication space. So I always say that no one would ever get upset with you, whether you've paid them late or you did not pay them, provided you have communicated and people know exactly where they stand. Once that part is sorted, then you've won half the battle. You have happy people. You have disagreements, but you are able to resolve them amicably and say, okay, fine. And I sometimes, I would sometimes use intents. I've got about 2 intents. And, the generalizations that interns are generally not serious people, and that doesn't mean that I have not come across with people that are not serious, but do you then deprive people the opportunity to learn and grow when you know yourself that you are where you are because it took somebody who then gave you a chance? So when you find yourself with a bad one, you just keep on giving the feedback, because sometimes people are not bad because they're just bad people, but they are just situations that make them come across as bad people. So you try and dig deeper and find out where is the problem, assist where possible. And if it really is a personality clash after everything has been done, then you release the people, no bitterness, no anger. You still good whenever you meet in the industry.
Yeah. I love that. I definitely love that. Find the right talent. Make sure that you're paying them right. I won't lie. I'm one of those people who are motivated by money. If you come to me and say, I have a project, the first thing that I want to know, how much am I going to make from this?
Yeah.
Because I mean, these are trying times, and it's good to be honest. I might want to associate with a certain project that you are busy with, but if there is no money, I'm busy,
Yeah.
right? And it's only fair to have that open communication with the people in your circles, with the people who contribute to your dream, with the people that who work for you, right? No, Miss Noel, let me come back to you. I mean, with the lockdown and the pandemic and everything else that's going on, what would you say has been the
Yeah.
greatest lesson for you so far, for the business and for yourself as a leader?
Firstly, for before the business, I'll speak on a personal level.
Yes.
Um, it has actually reminded me that family is important, very important. Because can you imagine if I was under this lockdown and my family was not taken care of, and it would have been an extremely stressful environment for me. So for me, it was very important to make sure that the family is comfortable,
Yes.
everyone is comfortable at home, everyone is happy, because we are all in this boat together and no one is going anywhere. We're in the middle of the sea, no one can jump off at any time.
Yeah.
So because you jump off, you are in danger, so that was very key for me, to make
Family.
sure that part is intact. And then on the business front, obviously, I had to find ways and find means to still make, to earn. So what I did is that I digged back into my network, of my previous experience before I became an interior designer. And I went back to my contact and I said, look, I understand that we are all going to be on the lockdown, and there will be
Yeah.
essential
Yeah.
products that are needed, and then I, through my contacts, that's how I managed to supply most of the products and services that I'm giving during the lockdown, which is
That is different from the
in the
design.
in the yeah, which is way different, totally
Okay.
different from the
Okay.
design,
And you're making
because
money currently.
yes, I'm making money. Well,
Oh,
at least I'm
please, let
making
me
money.
think. How are you making money? We want to know how you're making money. If the main business is suffering, I want to know how you're making money. That's the most important thing for me and the people who are watching.
Yeah, because I had a lot of my interior design project come to a
On
stop
hold,
due
yeah.
to the lockdown. Then it meant that I cannot earn. Yeah, they're on hold. So I had to be smart, and I was like, Lord, I need a plan. I don't know what to do. But then I remembered during lockdown. Then I heard what to be people talking about, what is it, essential products. I'm like,
Yes,
And then
essential.
I
Yeah,
started Googling what do they mean essential products? And then I was like,
yeah.
no man, yeah, look, I've been in this for before, because I've worked for Medical Research Council before, where we were doing I was in the medical we were doing medical technology research. Then the first person that I gave a call to was my ex-manager, and only to find that she already has a business that she's been running, after, you know, she left the organization, or she left MRC as well, Medical Research Council. And I got in touch with her, and I said, look, please put me in touch. Look, a girl has to earn here.
The girl has to make money.
Yeah, and that's how I managed to stay afloat. And then some of the things, yeah, some of the things, I keep learning as I go.
Yes.
And it has actually widened my network. Can you believe
Yeah.
it? And
Yeah.
that since the lockdown, I've actually had quite a bigger network now that don't even know that I'm an interior designer. They think I'm actually
In the medical space.
Yeah.
someone who's just doing the essential products, who's in this essential product business. But it's been well. It's been good. Look, yeah, it's been good. It's just
Great.
unfortunate that by the time I got the information, I couldn't apply for the license to do my own importing of the goods. It would have been good if I had known earlier so that I get my license earlier. Right now, unfortunately, the government is not issuing new license to new importers. So now I have to buy from people who already have their own license to import, and then I buy from them. But at least it's an industry that I understand, in the industry that I know, and I work with products that I understand and I know. So yeah,
Nice.
I'm earning.
Great.
Yeah.
If you missed what she said,
And it
dive
actually has
into
opened up
essential
even bit
services.
to end up signing up.
Yes.
And the nice thing is that because I understand the industry, and then I've worked with people that know the industry, I've managed to actually even get corporate, where I signed up as a vendor, to supply to corporate. There's one international organization, unfortunately I cannot mention names, that are buying, actually two international organizations that I'm supplying essential products to, which is a good thing for me. And then in a few local, yeah, and few individuals, but the ones that are keeping me happy, and which looks like it will probably keep me happy for a long time, even after the lockdown, is the fact that my business has been approved to be a vendor to those two international organizations to supply essential services. Yeah.
Yay. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a few more minutes. Let me come back to you, Nosy. I mean, you're successful now, but
Yeah.
you've had people who taught you the ways. You've had people that you still do, by the way. You have people that you look up to. You have people that you run to whenever you have a crisis. And I'm talking about mentors, and I'm talking about business developers or whoever you look up to in your space. Um, who would you say those people are, and why is it so important to always have somebody who knows more than you overlook what you're doing in business?
I think it's quite a few people. Firstly, complacency becomes the enemy. Change sometimes it can be uncomfortable, but you've just got to embrace it. It's too many people to mention, because I look I look up to different people for different reasons. There are people that I look up to maybe for spiritually. There are people that's in my industry. I know that this is my go-to person. And they would give me the information. There are people that I know that they would unlock a certain relationship that I've been trying to unlock. So in that way, they are different depending on the needs. But for me, the learning is I am one of those who can't, I keep my circle very, very small, but I know definitely that I'm not the type that you will see on social media crying and saying, how do I do this, to like thousands and thousands of people? Because one, I prefer talking about things from a position of having overcome. So if now I'm still bleeding, I always feel like sometimes you compromise yourself. So I always have that go-to person that I know that, okay, when things get tough in business, I can literally go run to that person and say, Ish, you know what, I need 20,000, I'll sort you out. And this person is not going to be on my case and saying every month, because they themselves are an entrepreneur. They understand that it's not going to be exactly on the 30th of the month, for instance. So that network becomes very important, and it's for each need. It's for each need that a person has. There's people with wealth of information. There's people that are retired in advertising, for instance, that I go to and I would say, okay, listen, I'm struggling to register maybe with this platform, with this particular radio station, or I need to place advertising, but I'm not going to pay them upfront, that sort of a thing. So creativity as well, and never taking no for an answer, finding ways of doing it differently. It's interesting that Noel talks about how one should always be on the lookout and say, this is not working. Sometimes as entrepreneurs, we tend to be so fixated and say, I only know advertising, but listen to the market. If there's a demand for this, personally, I don't care who's going to be laughing and saying everyone is selling sanitizers and masks, because what I know is that they are sitting at home broke while my bills are paid for, they are taken care of. So let me be the laughing stock, because I have maybe made a few changes in my business to be able to. One of the things that we supply is branded corporate clothing and gifts. And I mean, why not? It fits perfectly. Why can't you supply branded sanitizers? Why can't you supply maybe embroidered masks and things like those? We've got kids that will be going back to school. Yeah, you've got kids that will be going back to school. We know our kids lose stuff. So why don't you then say, I'm also adding embroidery, and you can embroider the mask to make sure that if it's lost and found, then it is given to that child. So that sort of a thing, the flexibility, and also not limiting yourself and saying, this is all I know. I started an advertising company because I have advertising experience. I'm trained in that, but there is nothing that stops me from saying, this is what is now essential. Otherwise, you will go hungry, my sister, and you'd be busy thinking, oh, okay, no, I cannot do this because this is not what the business is registered. I've got about 4 different businesses. And yes, I make sure that I master the one before I move into the next one. But I do know that if things are not good here, then let me be flexible enough and go to where I can bill. Come end of the month, I'm invoicing.
Build a strong network, be flexible, and embrace the change. Right? And those are the 3 key factors that I took away from what you just said, which is very powerful, because you know what, as a creative myself, as somebody who likes to explore with products, I've done so with a couple, and you tend to hold on to the things that, because this is important to me, this pen is important to me, I want it to have the same meaning to everybody, and when that doesn't happen, I'm stuck. I can't think, okay, maybe if I make it yellow, I think that's the change that you are talking about. Don't get stuck on one thing. There's so many more ventures to explore. In fact, while speaking about that, I was just thinking this morning, you see these gloves? These are bathing gloves. I was just thinking, the person who made these is actually making a whole lot of money right now.
Yeah.
This is just a simple product, you know. This
Mhm.
is this is the simplest product. You find it in every household. Everybody's using it. Everybody's got them. Sometimes it's not about how complex your product is. It's just about taking something that works
Mm.
and bringing it to the people. Let them make the noise about it, you know. Let them decide if your product is good enough or not. Oh my gosh, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much. Nozi, you'll go first, and then Noel, you'll close after. Please just let everybody know where to find you, where to
Yes,
access
thank
your
you.
services and stuff.
Okay. I am on Facebook as Nosy Zondi. We do also have a website which is nobia.co.za. It's got all the contacts. There is Facebook page as well. Then the contact details are there. We do have my normal email address, which is nosy@nubia.co.za. Everywhere I am on LinkedIn as well, the normal platforms. Yeah.
Okay. Miss Noel,
Yeah.
is she still with us?
I'm on Facebook I'm on Facebook as Noel Makauka Ningobeni. Yes, I'm here. I'm here. I'm on Facebook as Noel Makauka Ningobeni. I'm also on Instagram as Makaukani, but also if you wanna follow my interior design work, obviously
Mm-hmm.
you'll have to go to my page, which is Quatre Seasons. Yeah, I know it's quite a tricky name. Quatre as in 4 seasons. We've got a Facebook page. We also have a Twitter account as well as a Instagram account and a LinkedIn account. And and my email is my name, which is Noel at patricisons.co.za. And and I've also have a business WhatsApp for people who want to contact me to people who are stuck in the cabin, and when they get out they want to start zhuzhing up their
Revamp the
houses
whole
and their
so that
properties.
they're comfortable next time
You
on
can hit me up
lockdown.
on my WhatsApp as well, which is 071 number. I'm not sure if you can share that one, but but if you go to my
All right.
Facebook page, it is there. All the information is
No problem. I'm happy
there.
to share this information on the screen as the video
Yes,
plays out.
yes.
Yes. Thank you so much for
Yes. So
contributing this. Thank you so
and we
much.
also have a website, which is obviously my business. Yeah, yeah,
All right. If it's okay, I would
yes,
love to take those details
much.
and then put them on our comment
Thank you
section
for
for
having
everybody
us.
to contact you guys. Thank you so much that we've reached the end of our session. I love it when we have women conversations. You know, I love it when there's women who are striving out there, women who are sharing tips on how to make it out alive. Because for the
Mm.
most part, we are stuck, or we seem to think that we are stuck. But when we come
Mm.
together and find solutions, it's always the most amazing thing ever. And I think more women should,
Yeah.
same bomba and move forward. Thank you
Mm.
so much. Let's join us again tomorrow
Yeah.
for another
Mhm.
session.